NBA superstars aren't just watching Caitlin Clark, they're studying her. That's the part nobody told you. Highlights get the views, respect gets earned in the places cameras don't reach. And the way the biggest names talk about her game says more than any single box score ever will. Let's start with the two players whose words travel farther than most jumpers. Stephen Curry recognizes a kindred shooter when he sees one. Not just the range, that's the easy part to notice, but the footwork, the balance on the catch, the quick settle into the pocket when a defender is flying at your shoulder. When Steph highlights a guard's mechanics and nerve in big moments, it's a signal. Shooters know shooters, and they know how hard it is to look calm from 30 feet when the air is shaking. Then there's LeBron James, a player who has spent 2 decades measuring impact in more than points. He's been vocal about how Clark expands the tent, bringing new fans, new conversations, and new urgency to a league that's been building quality for years and finally has a megaphone to match it. When LeBron frames your influence as bigger than a stat line, that matters. Superstars don't waste approval. They place it where it grows the game. Once those two speak, the room gets louder. All stars around the league have echoed versions of the same theme: IQ, vision, composure, and competitiveness. Not good for a rookie, not good for the W, but good, period. That's the compliment that matters most in pro basketball, the Hooper First label. If you know, you know. From Kevin Durant to Devin Booker, each has emphasized her basketball IQ, court vision, and clutch grit skills they believe transcend league lines. They didn't only praise her numbers, they also mentioned her broader impact, which included recruiting generations, increasing media coverage, and driving global investment in women's basketball. But talk is only half the story. The other half is numbers, the kind that make executives sit up straight. When Clark plays, audiences arrive, demand spikes, ticket searches heat up. Networks and streamers see a lift that radiates beyond a single broadcast. If you've ever worked in a front office, you know how quickly momentum becomes a strategy deck. Where the attention started, how long it stayed, what else it touched, and what you can build on top of it. The Clark effect isn't a buzzword, it's a curve. And smart people plot curves. Here's where it gets real. Respect in the NBA isn't decided on social media. It's decided in practice gyms and film rooms. Away from microphones, pros talk about reads, not headlines. With Clark, the conversation hits the same points again and again. How she manipulates help, how she relocates after a kickout, how she drags defenders into a choice they don't want to make. It's the boring genius of good basketball. Arrive early, see it first, move the defense with your eyes, and punish the foot that twitched. Coaches don't applaud, they clip. If you sit through enough team meetings, you'll notice the patterns. Watch her spacing here. See how she flows from a handoff into a quick rescreen? Freeze it. Look at the weak side tag. That's why the corner is open. Clips travel. A possession that lives in one league on a Tuesday becomes a teaching point in another league on Wednesday. When bench units need an identity, when second groups need a model for pace without chaos, you start seeing the same examples surface: quick decisions, third-side actions, and shooters who are ready before the ball arrives. Analytics teams don't care about hype, they care about what they can measure. Clark's game gives them a clean read on gravity, how far a defense stretches to honor her range, and on assist chains, the secondary and tertiary passes that spring loose once the first advantage is created. Off-ball heat maps turn a score into a language: where she stands, when she sprints, how defenders shade. Yes, teams have been doing this forever. The difference is how often women's data now threads into men's scouting conversations. Cross-pollination is no longer a favor, it's a feature. NBA players such as Anthony Edwards, Russell Westbrook, and Donovan Mitchell have acknowledged Clark's impact on endorsement dynamics and fan engagement. While Zion Williamson and Paolo Banchero value her clutch ability on high-pressure court occasions, Nikola Jokic, the international MVP, lauded her general skill level. Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Scotty Barnes, and Evan Mobley emphasized her ability to communicate with varied audiences while remaining focused on the court. And if you're wondering what the brand world sees, it's simple: unified storytelling. Basketball is bigger when the best stories connect. Instead of siloed campaigns, you're seeing creative that treats the sport as one universe, with different stars lighting different corners. Pros across the aisle notice the shape of Clark's voice: confident without being performative, competitive without being grim, grounded enough to handle surges of attention without turning every moment into a controversy. That balance is hard. Rookies watch it. Veterans respect it. There's always the same question in the comments: could she hang with the guys? Wrong question. The better one is, which of her habits translate to winning anywhere? Pre-reads translate. Deep-range gravity translates. Composure with a 3-point deficit and 90 seconds left translates. The NBA isn't respecting Clark because of a hypothetical scrimmage. It's respecting her because the things she does well are the same things coaches beg from their guards every day. If you wanted to code what superstars are really saying, here it is. Shooters love the economy of her mechanics, how little extra there is between catch and release. Playmakers love the way she sets tempo, then spikes it. Control first, burst second. Veterans love that she carries attention like weight room plates, without wobbling under it. All of that adds up to something bigger than one season. Visibility creates resources. Resources build development. Development improves the product. The product attracts more visibility. It's a flywheel. Clark accelerates it because she's a walking conversation starter and a problem you must solve on the court. Most players give you one or the other. The small club gives you both. So what happens next? Defenses will adjust. They'll pick her up higher, trap earlier, and hide their help better. That's fine. Counters already exist. Ghost screens into the corner, decoy actions that flip the strong side, inverted pick and rolls that pull bigs to places they hate. The arms race you're seeing, between her range and a defense's willingness to live with risk, forces everyone to play sharper. NBA stars won't just cheer those moments. They'll reshare the possessions that show why the counter worked, because leaders love clips that teach. This is the part people underestimate, carrying attention without losing yourself. Some players collect moments and get lost in them. Clark tends to collect possessions. If you've watched her late in games, the common thread isn't just the shots, it's the choices. A quick pitch ahead when the defense is off balance. A sneaky relocation that turns a decent look into a must contest. The best pros notice the simple things that are secretly rare. And yes, the business is noticing. When a single player draws millions of casual eyeballs into a sport, advertisers pivot, networks shuffle, and platforms build new lanes. The safer story is, this is good for women's basketball. The truer story is, this is good for basketball. When attention lifts one corner of the game, it changes the incentives everywhere else. That's why NBA superstars engage. They understand the value of a bigger pie, and they recognize the skill set building it. It all circles back to the word that gets thrown around too easily and earned too rarely. Respect. The version that counts isn't a headline. It's a head nod from someone who's done it at the highest level. The nod usually means the same three things. You see the floor, you handle pressure, and you make the right choice more often than not. If you've been around the sport long enough, you can hear the tone. It's not patronizing, it's not novelty. It's just basketball people saying, she's real. That's why this isn't a one-year blip. Clark has become a default reference, for coaches pulling examples, for rookies building routines, for brands searching for faces who can fill an arena and a message. The NBA's biggest names didn't hand her that status. She took it by doing the unglamorous things that make glamorous moments possible. Feet set early, eyes up, read made, ball gone. Net. If you're still asking what they really say about her, here's the translation. She's a pro's pro. The kind of player who makes you pause the clip, rewind 5 seconds, and ask the room, did you catch that? The kind who reminds a league that the smartest path to a great shot is still a simple one. Move first, think fast, shoot ready. She didn't just join the conversation. She's steering it. On the court, in the film room, and in the way the sport tells its own story. And that's why NBA superstars aren't merely applauding from a distance. They're taking notes. Because in the end, basketball respects two things: truth and work. The truth is in the tape. The work is in everything it doesn't show. Caitlin Clark is stacking both. And if you weren't paying attention before, the game's biggest voices just made sure you will be now.